Previously on The Secret of Christopher Topher.
What's happened to my mightiest of warriors?
It was the humans. They have taken him like the creatine from us.
Destroy the evil humans. Kill those who have destroyed one of our mightiest warriors.
Alex needs top medical assistance, or we may end up paralyzed permanently.
Your thoughts of telling the world that the aliens exist and are the forefathers of humans are foolish at best. Do you realize what the ramifications would be? What you say will affect millions. I advise you not to act the hero. You have no idea what secrets lurk in the shadows of history. The sound of bombs, gunfire, and military machinery filled the air. Precept and his massive army had invaded Earth for what they hoped would be their final conquest of the Lucy Marks and the human race. Decepticon creatures were using the Scroll's advanced technology to their full advantage. Remote areas of the Earth lacking military power was easily overrun. The United States, Europe, and China were crippled severely by the aliens' might. Decepticon was poised for an easy victory. At the hospital unit, thanks to a medical miracle, Alex recovered from the Mali Dragon bite. Karen was ecstatic to see her friend alive and well. While still recovering, Alex heard several voices in the hall just outside his room. One of the voices belonged to the Pope. He was complaining that he had issues with President Topher's addresses to the world. The Pope had a growing suspicion that the president would end up telling the world the truth about the aliens. This would not sit well with the church and its leaders. I have a plan that will make Christopher step down from his presidency. I will not go into details yet, but you'll know when the time comes. The next morning, Alex told Karen about what he heard.
The Pope and his officials are planning to get rid of the president. I'm not sure how, but I plan to find out.
On the day Alex was being discharged from the clinic, he was greeted and assisted by Karen.
Were you able to get hold of Flip?
No, I wasn't. He won't answer his cell.
Well, we gotta get hold of him. We have to warn him about the Pope.
Don't get nervous, Alex. After Flip and I admitted you to the clinic, he told me he was going to Washington to brief the president. So we need to go to Washington.
And how are we going to get there?
Meet me on the corner of Heather and Bella.
When Alex got near the location, he saw Karen standing next to an old truck.
Alex, I'd like you to meet Walker.
Howdy, Alex. Karen tells me y'all need a ride to D.C. Well, I got time on my hands and a tank full of gas. I'm ready to go when you are.
After a few minutes, Alex and Karen jammed themselves into the truck for the long trip to Washington. Their hope was to reach Flip in time to warn him of the Pope's intention to get rid of the president. Meanwhile, back in Washington, President Topher, along with Flip and Lieutenant Jackson, was having a heated discussion with the Pope.
Tell me, Christopher, how are we doing in the war? Are we any closer than last month to ending it? How many civilians have died because of the incompetence of the U.S. government and her allies?
With all due respect, Father, I think that the government and our military have performed quite well under the circumstances. For the first time in history, we're fighting against beings from another world who have superior technology. My feelings now, as they have been from the beginning, is that lying to the public has been detrimental to our cause.
You do realize that the church and the government that you presently lead made a deal years ago to keep sensitive information such as this from the public.
I do. But that deal was made in the 1940s. The world has changed. People are smarter and more informed. I believe if we tell them the truth and the people know what they are fighting against, we can rally and win this war.
It sounds as if you are considering telling them the truth. You do realize that this would destroy the beliefs of many.
It's time. And it's time for the church to realize its place in history. I plan on giving the State of the World address tonight. The Pope was angry. With a menacing grin over his cell phone, he chanted the command of the sixth scroll. Subteton officers and soldiers recited the same text. Within moments, many Alliance soldiers worldwide had stopped attacking the creatures and turned on their own fellow officers. They appeared to be in a trance. With the assistance of the Subteton, they placed unaffected soldiers and officials under arrest. Those who resisted were killed. Civilians were also affected. There was chaos in the street and homes. Many were placed into custody. It was a perfect coup, spearheaded by the Pope with assistance from the Subteton. President Topher and his staff, including Flip and Jackson, were taken into custody.
Christopher, your days as president and world leader are over.
I know we've had our issues, but for you to conspire with the enemy and kill people is of the highest treason.
Like you and members of the U.S. government, I have been in communication with the aliens. I just chose a different side. Don't try and play innocent. The U.S. government has sought the power of the Skrulls for decades. Their goal was to use the Skrulls' powers for purposes of war. The church only wanted to make sure that the Skrulls were not discovered by the masses. Discovery of the Skrulls would have been catastrophic to those who believe in the teachings of the church. As the years passed, I became curious about the origins of the Skrulls' text and learned that it was not the Lucimarks who created the Skrull technology, but the brilliant Subteton. I was moved to meet the members of this downtrodden alien race. I understood their anger towards their enemy. I managed to keep in touch with them through my promotion to the papacy.
I don't understand your purpose of sacrificing human lives to save the church. What is it that you're trying to do? Create a world of aliens and people who believe in the teachings of the church?
Far from it. After you broadcast your resignation, the church will step in and make things right with the world. Do you think I care anything about those monsters? I only care about the sanctity of the church. Mark my words, I will gain possession of the seventh scroll and lead in the destruction of the aliens. Now you will agree to my terms. If not, I will wipe out all of those who do not believe in the church's teachings.
The people will figure out who the real monster is.
Yes, you are correct. The people will find out who the real monster is. And after they find out the truth, you will give your resignation with no questions asked. Now enough talk. Soldiers, take this vermin away.
The compromised soldiers led the president, Flip, Jackson, and other officials away by gunpoint. Meanwhile, a pair of Valiants had just finished uncloaking. They went back to report all that they've heard to ESEP. As Alex, Karen, and Walker approached the town just outside of Washington, they noticed that there were people in the middle of the road forming a barricade. As they rolled to a stop, they were approached by 4 men with rifles. Alex, Karen, and Walker were then ordered by gunpoint to get into the men's caravan.
Hey, where are we going?
To a place where y'all all belong. Hell.